Welcome to Books in the Freezer, a podcast dedicated to the deliciously disturbing world of horror fiction. I'm your host, Stephanie, and today I am joined by friend and returning guest, Annette, to talk about books with powered protagonists or protagonists with supernatural abilities. You know what? We still haven't decided which direction we're going with that title, but you know what we mean. So, welcome to the show, Annette.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to hear it, even though the title doesn't really roll off the tongue.
Yeah, since the beginning of us brainstorming this, we have gone back and forth on a title. So whatever is on the thumbnail is just whatever we decided to go with at the end. But this was really fun. This was a really fun topic.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, I think, subgenres for fantasy, horror, maybe even sci-fi that it's everywhere, but you don't really think about it. So when we started talking about it, I thought to myself, will we be able to find enough titles? But it turns out we did, and there are plenty, so I'm very happy.
A trend I noticed was that because you're following a protagonist with a supernatural ability, I feel like there's also series potential for a lot of these. So a few of mine are like the start of a series where you are following this protagonist using their powers in various situations.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot you can do with it, and in a serious perspective, you can also bring in other people who maybe have powers as well. So
Yeah. I think it was interesting also to look at this and see what kind of people are these characters.
yeah,
It's an interesting story device to give power to the otherwise powerless. So I think we often see a lot of children. Um, we see a lot of women, kind of marginalized groups of people,
yeah.
which I think makes for an interesting story.
You see that powerlessness basically every day. Look around society, look at the news. So it kind of feels good to see marginalized people be empowered, see them actually fight back.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think yeah, I agree. It's a great device.
But it's also interesting to see the downsides of this power.
Yeah,
Oftentimes, these protagonists feel like it's a curse that they have.
yeah. You often see them being, you know, other people might be afraid of them, or they might be just the simple fact that they have powers and their community does not. It sets them apart. However well integrated they are, it's still something they carry on their own for the most part. That's my impression anyway. They're essentially different. Even though they have power, they can do a lot for good, they can protect people, but they're still alone in a sense.
Yeah, it's very isolating. That's covered in one of my picks,
Yeah.
where there's a character who has not learned to harness her power, so
Mhm.
she self isolates for fear of harming other people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the worst. That's horrible. I mean these poor people who have these powers that can be used constructively, but they no one has shown them how to, like you said, harness them. So they just, what do they do? But I mean that too is a great device for a story to
Yeah.
actually follow them, discovering their own strength.
Yeah. My gosh, I remember the first time I watched Matilda as a child, and I was like, wow, I am also a child who reads a lot and is kind of unhappy at home.
Yeah.
Therefore, I can also develop telekinesis if I just squint hard enough and just
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
trying.
Did you get that?
No, tried. I was like, "Oh, I'm definitely moving that cup." No.
Just a little bit.
It never materialized, unfortunately. I guess I just wasn't reading at Matilda level. That's what you need to do.
Right.
Well, should we get into some media with some powered protagonists?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. I think we've got a big one that is important to a ton of people that I unfortunately missed altogether. And I know it's a big pop culture blind spot for me, but I just feel like generationally, like I just missed it. I feel like if I had an older sibling, I would
Sure.
have watched it. Like, I just missed it by a few years.
Yeah, I have a younger cousin who told me that he would watch the occasional episode when he came to visit us. And back then he was like, meh, because I don't think he was old enough to really. But now, as an adult, like 30 plus, he checked it out and he loves it. So he keeps referring to all these weird, obscure things from the show. So I love that he was influenced in a good way to watch
Yeah.
Buffy.
We haven't said what the show is.
Oh, sorry, it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, of course.
I just realized we kept talking around it.
Yeah, yeah. Buffy is a fact of life, so you don't have to.
You should have just known
Yeah,
what we
yeah.
were talking about. You should have tapped into that psychic ability,
Yes.
listener, and known.
Yeah. Actually, I think if you checked it out now, you might like it. I mean, who knows? But it has
Hmm.
of elements that could be fun. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a story about a high schooler named Buffy Summers. It's about her friends, her family. It mixes high school drama with the supernatural because Buffy is the Slayer, which means that she is the only person in the entire world who has the powers to fight against vampires, demons, and other forces of darkness. And the thing about Buffy, both the show and the character, was that so this premiered in 1997. I was 13 at the time. Thing is, she is this pretty young girl, but she is also the hero. And that, for me, I had never seen that before on screen. That wasn't um, that wasn't how women and especially young girls were portrayed at the time. So she was something else, and to sort of see this teenage girl run towards the danger, that was just mind blowing. And I mean, it had a huge impact on pop culture, of course, but also on me as a girl. Like, I could actually see a girl, I could see myself as a hero, I could see other girls as heroes. So that um that had a huge influence. So the whole show, I mean, it's it's very, I mean, yeah, it's vampires and demons, but it deals with a lot of very human relationships, especially that thing about the loneliness of power and responsibility. Because she has both friends and family, found family, but she is essentially set apart, and that's something that the show deals with. So yeah, Buffy is the best.
I love that.
So The Servant is an M Night Shyamalan TV show. I think it might have 3 seasons now. I watched the first one, and it's very very good. It follows a couple with a little baby where the mother fusses a lot over the baby, and the father is a bit cold. And you quickly realize that the baby is a doll, but the mother
Mm.
mother is convinced that it's her baby. Um, and then a young nanny arrives, and she also treats the doll as a real baby. She like looks at the dad like, you know, um, why are you so negative towards your son? But you can see it's a doll, so it's very strange. And then of course weird things happen because the nanny might have an ability. That's a really good
Weird.
one. Yeah, it's very weird.
I think one of the big ones is The Sixth Sense. Got a
Yeah.
little boy who can see dead people,
Oh yeah. That
and it is a heavy burden to bear and a lot of heavy stuff for a young boy to handle. And we get to watch a movie as he finds someone who helps him put this gift to good use and make sense of it and use it even in a way at the end. And one of the most touching scenes, I think, in all of cinema where he connects with his mom and that
mm,
Tony Collette breakdown, every single time I watch it, has me sobbing.
yeah. Oh, she's so good.
Where she gets closure about her own mother, and he, passes a message along. Oh my God, it gets me every time.
Really good. Oh, and he's great as well. I
Oh
don't
my
know,
gosh.
like 12, 11, 12, maybe.
Hmm.
It was really good. Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
There was a Friday the 13th entry,
Mm-hmm.
part 7, The New Blood, where to spice things up, we did throw in a protagonist who had telekinetic powers.
Ooh.
And yeah, it's fun. In the opening of the movie, her parents get into a fight and she is so overwhelmed. Her dad is on a dock that she ends up shaking the dock that he's on and kills her father, and
Oh,
he drowns.
oh,
Um,
nice.
and so years later, she's seeing this psychiatrist who tells her she needs to go back to the scene of her trauma.
Oh,
And she walks out and attempts to bring her dad back up from the lake. But guess who she brings up instead, baby?
whoa.
Jason Voorhees. Brings them on a killing spree. I love when slasher franchises get wacky. That is my
Yeah,
favorite thing. This is why I love slashers. We throw in a protagonist with telekinesis, okay?
yeah,
It's fun. It's a
yeah.
good time.
So one of the best series ever is The Haunting of Hill House by Mike Flanagan. And in this show, there is at least one character, possibly three. Um, Theo Crane, who's a middle sister, she gets flashes of things like truth, is how I think of it. Like when she touches people with her hands, she gets flashes of things. Um, so she always wears these gloves so she won't get overwhelmed. But there are also, I mean, clear signs that her mother has powers as well, or is susceptible to things, and also her sister Nell. So that was a nice touch, I think, considering that they grew up in a house full of ghosts.
Yeah. I loved that series. And we were talking about this earlier. I do love the idea that oftentimes there are female characters with this kind of intuitive power where they know things or they get flashes of seeing things. And I do find that kind of interesting as a stand in for a woman's intuition.
Yeah, it's interesting how these so many stories like when women are powered. I think Buffy is like the exception here because she has physical strength, speed. She has this spider sense almost about vampires, but she doesn't have psychic powers, so it's all physical. And it's interesting how many female characters have these psychic abilities instead. That's I'm sure there's a whole TED talk that can be done on that.
One of those was the Black Phone, and we're not following the essentially the main protagonist. It's about a pair of siblings, and the sister of the siblings has psychic abilities and gets flashes um of things going on. And during this time there is a kidnapper who is going around and kidnapping boys and killing them, and her brother gets taken. And so she uses these abilities to go to the police and find out where her brother is, like through these flashes of psychic information and like kind of communicating with her brother.
Yeah.
Also, it's a really good movie.
Right. Cool. I haven't seen it.
And one with a guy. Did you ever watch Stir of Echoes?
No, I didn't.
I really like that one, and I probably controversial opinion. It is also a book. Movie is much better than the book.
Really?
But it's 1999. Kevin Bacon. It's kind of his working class family in Chicago, and they're having a dinner party one night. And his sister in law is kind of this woo woo presence, and she talks about how she's taking this class to like hypnotize people and put them in a trance. And so he volunteers and she does it to him, but she unlocks something. She opens a door where now he is receiving this barrage of psychic images that he can't stop. And he has a feeling that something in his house is trying to communicate with him. And so the whole movie, it's him fighting this, feeling like he's losing his mind, but also trying to get to the bottom of what this thing is that's communicating with him.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds terrifying. Oof.
It's really good. And I also watched The Rage Carrie 2. We will be talking about Carrie
Yeah.
1, Carrie proper
Right.
later, but I watched The Rage Carrie 2, which I think if you haven't seen it, you need to go into it knowing that this was essentially a made for TV movie. And then you will be pleasantly surprised that for a TV movie, it's pretty good. If you go into it expecting a lot, you will be disappointed. It was a very unnecessary sequel. I will say the way that they kind of shoehorn the tie back to Carrie doesn't really make a lot of sense if you've read the book,
Mm.
but it's a fun, you know, continuation on the story where we're at the high school. It's the same teacher, the same gym teacher who sees another loner girl with telekinesis and weird stuff. And she's like, uh oh, I've been here before. This is my chance to do things right. I. I screwed this up once. I'm not going to screw it up again. And I had honestly a pretty good time with it. So I do recommend. It's one of those movies that's always on Tubi, basically. So you can
Yeah.
go check that out.
Oh, I just read that Mike Flanagan. Well, he's doing a Carrie series in a while, and I just read that the actors connected with that project. So the girl who plays Charlie in Hereditary,
Hmm.
um, Millie Shapiro, I think her name is.
Yeah.
She is playing Carrie, and um, Samantha Sloyan, who plays Bev Keane in Midnight Mass, is a
Okay.
mother.
Oh my God, that I can see that
Me too.
perfectly.
Mm.
My only note on that is I do wish someone would have the courage to get a fat Carrie because Carrie in the book
Yes,
is fat.
she is. Yeah,
I'm like,
I agree.
somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, and they're also. I mean, I want to say I had not watched any of the films, not even the '70s films, before I read the book. So I was going. I mean, of course, it's like cultural thing, Carrie.
Yeah.
So I sort of knew where it was leading, but I didn't know like the details. So I was very surprised. I mean, skinny, beautiful actresses are often cast to play Carrie, and I thought, yeah, like you said, it would be great to see someone like her, like she's described.
Yeah. Did you end up watching any of them after reading it?
I didn't. I like. I needed. It hit me so hard that book that I just
Yeah.
needed time for it to sort of, yeah, just sink in. It was. I really enjoyed that book. I can't believe it was Stephen King's first novel.
I know.
It's insane.
We can honestly transition into talking about it since it's one of
Yeah.
my picks. All right. Yeah. I finally read Carrie by
Mm.
Stephen King. And I have been a huge fan of basically every movie adaptation that I've seen. It's a story I really like and have connected with. So tell me why I waited this long to read the source material
I know. Yeah.
when I knew that I would love it. Yes, this is about Carrie White, who is a loner at this high school. She has a very oppressive religious fanatic of a mother who has very odd, strange ideas about sex and womanhood and really keeps Carrie isolated and down and I mean essentially tortures her.
Yeah.
And the book opens up with Carrie getting her period in gym class and her being bullied by the other girls because she is freaking out. She doesn't know what's happening to her. And this book is so heartbreaking in
Mm.
so many ways. There are so many times where you see Carrie just wants, she's like Ariel. She just wants to be part of their world. Like she just wants to be one of the girls. She wants to just have a normal high school experience,
Mm.
and the world is just so hard on her. And this book is told in an epistolary fashion, so we get um, a lot of newspaper articles and interviews, and this is in a world where this was a big event. So there are kind of like these true crime, pulpy type novels, like not novels, these true crime books looking into like the Carrie White incident and what happened at the high school. And so it's interesting to learn about her that way. But there's even interviews with neighbors when she was growing up talking about how heartbreaking it was that this little girl just wanted to connect. And I don't know. There was so much about this book that absolutely ripped my heart out. And Annette, I agree. I can't believe this was his first book.
Yeah, it's incredible. And how he manages to, I was about to say, like, write from a bullied girl's perspective, but knowing that Stephen King was bullied himself, I think that he described sort of how it feels. And I also thought he did really well with following, especially one of the girls who bully her in the shower when she gets her period, her entire journey throughout the book, like her thinking, I mean, feeling real shame, like
Yeah.
honestly shameful that she was a part of that, and she doesn't like the fact that she has that part. She doesn't like the fact that she um, has that ugly side to herself, that she would do that to someone. So she really goes on this journey as well as everyone else and Carrie. And I thought that was very interesting as well, that yeah, it's not just Carrie versus everyone, it's everyone's journey in this related to Carrie and what she goes through.
Yeah. And I don't know if we've said, but yeah, she has telekinesis. And
Yeah.
this is a lot of these stories about, uh, especially girls getting telekinesis, are centered around them going through puberty, them getting their first period. Kind of that transitional period is when they're seen to be like the most powerful. Like they're so unstable. Their powers are unstable. They haven't learned. Um, it was just so interesting. She is such a tragic figure. Yes, does she kill basically her entire senior class? Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
She's poor baby. She's small baby.
Yeah.
And I think all she wanted to do was stand up to her mom and live a normal life.
Yeah. And I mean, just that she has this sort of story arc where she feels like when she's asked to the prom by this guy who is pretty much a sweetheart, I think the only person in the whole book that's actually a good person.
Yeah.
She's asked to go to the prom, and you can tell she's like, I need to do this for myself. I need to be someone else than this victim that I've been. I mean, I'm not that she caused that, but like she feels like she needs to be a different person going into her um, after graduating, because this is only a month away from graduating high school. So she needs to, I don't know, just be someone new, find herself. Because if not, she's just gonna. She feels like her whole life is just going to waste away. So that just makes everything that comes after even worse, because I feel like, yeah, I to be honest, when she was doing her thing at the prom, I thought to myself, good for you, Carrie. You know what? Good for you.
I mean, I think the first time I really saw the use of the Lucille Bluth "good for her"
Yeah,
meme was
yeah,
about Carrie.
right, yeah,
I think that was like the one that started it all. It's like when
yeah,
Carrie kills everyone at her prom. Good for her.
yeah,
R.I.P. Carrie White. A beautiful, tragic figure.
yeah.
Um, Also, one thing that I don't think is really noted in the movies, we get a lot of court transcripts of people being interviewed that obviously survived,
Yeah.
um, trying to figure out what's happening. And it's also that she can kind of telegraph her thoughts because a lot of people will say, she said this,
Mm,
and the person interviewing them will say, like, did you hear her say this?
yeah.
You were saying she was really far away. How did you know that
Mm,
that's what she said?
yeah.
So she also had like another power, just like to
Yeah.
push
She
out
was
what she
like
was
a
thinking.
loudspeaker. Yeah. But
Yeah. Which I thought was interesting and something that I didn't know from the movies.
yeah.
So that, oh, rating wise, I would say Fridge. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Fridge. And that is, of course, the iconic Carrie by Stephen King. Very glad that I finally got around to reading it. I liked it. I
Yeah.
knew I would like it, but I liked it more than I thought even I
Right?
would going into it.
Yeah. So my first pick is a novella by Ajvde Lindqvist called Border. Um, the story is about a woman named Tina who works as a customs officer in Sweden. Um, she has this particular talent that comes in handy in her job. She can smell when someone is hiding something.
Ooh.
So she does very well at her job. But she is different. She feels different. She even looks a little bit different. Um, and that makes her withdrawn. It makes her a bit of an outcast. It also makes her settle for some relationships that aren't great. Um, and then one day, a man arrives at customs, and it turns out that he has the exact same skill as she does.
Oh.
So, because this is a novella, I don't want to spoil too much,
Okay.
but the story is about it's about belonging. It's about accepting yourself, even if you're different from most people. It's about finding a home, and it uses this idea of powers as a really good vehicle to explore all of this. And it also includes elements of Nordic folklore, which I like.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Is this like in a story collection or is
Yes,
this
it is. This novella is found in English in the collection called Let the Old Dreams Die.
okay?
So you can check it out.
Ooh, interesting.
I think I would put this in room temperature. Um, uh, yeah, I'll do that again because I didn't really have anything to follow that up with. So I'll put this in room temperature, and that is Border by Jon Ivy the Links.
Ooh, cool. That reminds me, not horror at all, but there's a series on Peacock with Natasha Lyonne called Poker Face,
Mm-hmm.
where she is essentially a human lie detector,
Mm-hmm.
but her life is kind of a mess. And in the first episode, she works at a casino in Las Vegas and she upsets someone very high up, like connected to the mob. And so she's on the run.
Mm-hmm.
And so every episode is her, like, while she's hitchhiking on the run, falling into different scenarios where there's been a murder, and she and she uses her like lie detector skills to like figure out the murder, and then she's like, anyway, gotta go, people are after me.
What sounds fun?
And it's Latasha Leone, so she's got that gravelly voice and she's so funny and charming,
Yeah.
and it's a fun watch. I recommend it. My next pick also has a bit of comedy and a little bit of those elements is Allison by Jeff Strand. And this is about a woman named Allison. I don't know if you could have guessed. But the book opens up when she is, I believe, 13, and she's on vacation with her family. They've rented this cabin. And while they are there, there's a home invasion that happens, and people are holding her parents at gunpoint. And she's obviously overwhelmed with fear. And she is zeroing in on these intruders and ends up killing them with her mind. And she like looks over and is like, "Mom, Dad, I did it. I saved you." And she looks over and she has also killed her parents. So that is the opening. We fast forward to Allison, who is in her 40s, who works as an accountant remotely. Like, she has made every decision to try to isolate herself from as many people as possible and really tries to live a bland existence because any surge of emotion could result in someone getting hurt. She has never really practiced her powers. She doesn't know. She just knows like when she feels too much, happy, sad, angry, anything. So she has avoided romantic relationships. She has avoided close friendships. She avoids really getting into any situation that would, raise anything that would cause her to be overwhelmed with emotion. During the same time, we are also following a guy who works for a mob boss. And there's a killing that goes wrong. He ends up crossing paths with Allison and starts connecting dots and is like, I think we can use this. Like, we can use her for our purposes.
Yeah.
And so he tells the mob boss about her, and they send a group of guys to kidnap her. And they are not prepared
Oh,
for the weapon that is Allison. And it is just this like crazy standoff. And it's also a journey for Allison where she learns like what she can do and what she has in her. And before she met with, cross paths with this unfortunate guy, she was starting this kind of friendship with possible romantic potential. Like things were going well for her. Like she was going somewhere. And so it's a really fun journey for her as a character. I really liked it. And if you've read anything by Jeff Strand, he's funny. If you've ever seen him talk like at StokerCon or something, he is like a funny guy. It was a really good story. I liked it. Uh this is, I would say, at least fridge. It is gory. Like I don't think you understand. Like she like rips people apart. Like she and it is described. Like the way she does it's not like, oh, people just fall down. Like, oh no, she dismembers them with her mind. So yeah, that is Allison by Jeff Strand.
my second pick is The Power by Naomi Alderman. The story follows the emergence of a new power in women, which is the ability to create electricity in their palms. So the story follows different POVs, different women from different parts of the world, different walks of life, um, and it's interesting because this power it kind of appears randomly. It's said that every single woman over generations have developed this. It's almost this organ, this thing in their clavicle. That's sort of the precursor to this power. So when it starts randomly activating, um, it appears randomly from it appears randomly, but it can also be activated by one woman touching her electricity into the palm of another woman. So it has this sort of vibe in the beginning. That is, it has this vibe of women helping women or empowering other women, which I really like. And of course, this is an. It talks about all the abuse and injustices that women face on a daily basis. And there is this amazing scene set to a basement where a group of women are held as sex slaves, and a cleaning lady whose electricity has come in touches the palm of one of the women, and this slowly sort of spreads among these imprisoned women. And you just know that they are going to break free. You know that they are going to fight back against their captors. You don't see it, but that's what's implied, and that's incredibly empowering. But at the same time, this book also deals with the fact that if you put too much power into the hands of one group in society, that is dangerous.
Yeah.
And some people will abuse that power. and after a while, it will become institutionalized, um, and the norm. So it deals with both how basically men had most power before the electricity, and after electricity appears, women has that power. But no one should have that kind of power. Is sort of
Yeah.
what the book is exploring, or at least saying. So it does become really dark, pretty frightening. It makes you think about this balance of power and the ethics of power. Um, so yeah, I really like this book. It's been a few years since I read it, but I thought it was really interesting. So I would put it in a fridge. There are some very disturbing things that happen because when people get power, you don't really know how they are going to use it, and that's scary.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it makes you think, and I thought that was like that about this. So that is The Power by Naomi Alderman.
Mm-mm. I have not read that.
It's pretty. I think it came out like 10 years ago.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
No.
Um, my last pick, it's kind of two because I wanted to talk about both of them, but it's the Gravekeepers series by Darcy Coates. And this follows a woman named Kira. And when we follow her in the first book, The Whispering Dead, she's on the run and she hides out in this gravekeeper's cottage. And she realizes she has no memory of her life or who she is or why she was running, why she's being pursued. She ends up being able to stay there and work as a gravekeeper, and it helps her kind of integrate into this town. She develops a group of friends. She has like a cat that lives in the cottage with her. It's very cute. This is definitely in that genre of like cozy horror. But she realizes that the spirits in the graveyard can not necessarily speak to her verbally, but she can see them and they will come to her when they have unfinished business. So throughout these books, she is trying to like help with these case by case, put these spirits to rest, and also work towards discovering more about her past and who she was, and also why she was being pursued, because that's where we open up is she is being chased through the woods and does not know why. Um, I also wanted to talk about the Miriam Black series by Chuck Wendig, which is probably more classified in the like paranormal urban fantasy. I really liked Miriam Black as a protagonist. I think she really works well with Chuck Wendig's particular style of dialogue writing. Like she's very spunky, very sassy, kind of like a punky Lorelai Gilmore, just like always has something to say. Her thing, she lives this nomadic existence, and when she touches someone, she sees how they will die. And in the first book, yeah, so she's like, you don't even understand the weight of the things that I have seen. I can't get close to people because it's just too heartbreaking to know that, to have that knowledge at all times. And so she meets with someone, and when she touches them, she sees that person tortured, covered in blood, screaming her name. So she's like, oh my God, I'm somehow responsible for this person's death. And so it's her in the first book going through this journey of trying to stop this from happening and seeing if that's a possibility. Like, are her visions set in stone, or can she do something to stop this from happening? And she's just such a fascinating character. It's a really good series that I think honestly more people needed to have read, should
That's
read.
really, really good.
She's a really fun protagonist. She's going through some dark shit.
Yeah.
So that is the Gravekeeper series by Darcy Coates and the Miriam Black series by Chuck Wendig. I would say The Whispering Dead is definitely room temperature. Miriam Black is more in the fridge. It's a little more splattery, a little more gory. She's also very vulgar. Like that's part of her thing is she is just kind of an in your face person. And I love that about her.
Yeah. Okay, so my third pick is The Passage by Justin Cronin. this is the first of 3 books. Uh, so this is a huge, huge story, a huge sprawling narrative. It's really well done. I think it's very beautiful, and it follows basically follows human civilization for centuries after the outbreak of this monstrous vampire plague. Um, so the first sort of the present timeline follows a government experiment on convicts, which is pretty unethical in itself. But this creates a type of vampires. Um, so that starts sort of the plague. And then you also have this timeline POV of a FBI agent protecting this little girl named Amy. And then you have the timeline 100 years from now when you see sort of this bastion of human beings trying to survive. I mean, that's what their society has done for the last 100 years. They survive by being inside this tiny little town they've built. They have flashlights going all night to keep the vampires out. And then the old, very old sort of turbines and batteries that keep these lights on start failing. Um, but what's really nice about this story is that it's really good at sort of zooming in and out on settings, relationships, characters. It makes you care about every single one of them. And the through main line is this little girl, Amy. Because something happens early on that makes her powered. And I think it's gonna spoil a lot if I say too much about what her powers are, but the point is that she is present throughout this entire thing for centuries. So she sort of weaves in and out of the story, and I think she's a great example of how a powered person, she has her struggles, but essentially she becomes this protective entity for the non-powered characters of the story. So she talking about the ethics of being having powers. She wins at the ethics game basically. She's a benevolent presence. So yeah, I think it's fair to say she's the heart of the story. So
Interesting.
yeah, it's, he does a great job of sort of super focusing on people so that you actually care about them because it's a big narrative.
Yeah.
I think I would put this in the fridge because there are a few really scary moments with the vampires and also some of the human experiences that the characters go through. But on the whole, I think it's room temperature. So I'm meeting in the middle on fridge. So that is The Passage by Justin Cronin.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I had a few honorable mentions, actually quite a lot, that I
Yeah.
wanted to sneak in because I feel like there's so many.
Yeah.
Um, we were speaking about how these characters are usually marginalized. And so I wanted to mention a Carrie retelling I read a few years ago called The Weight of Blood, where we are following a main character who is Black. And she has been kind of white passing. She's biracial. She has a white father. And this high school still practices these kind of underhanded, segregated policies where they have two proms. And let's just say she carries out. She has her moment, and I really liked this book. And it also, from what I've heard, is a really good audiobook. It's by Tiffany. The book is by Tiffany D. Jackson, and it keeps the epistolary tradition where we are listening to a podcast investigating,
Mm.
kind of going over like what happened at this prom. And also I feel like The Reformatory by Tanana Reeve Do, where we are following a boy who was sent away to one of these like reformatory school for boys, um, also in a gross, underhanded miscarriage of justice. And you'll see like most of the boys are there for the things that they should not be there for. And it is discovered that this boy can talk to Haynes, can talk to the ghosts that are there. And the people in charge become very concerned and want to actually use his help to rid them of their ghost problem. Also, I mean, Nat Cassidy has When the Wolf Comes Home, which involves shape shifting. The episode before this is my talk with Nat Cassidy about dad horror. So we talk about that there. Also, Mary, An Awakening of Terror by
Yeah.
Nat Cassidy falls into this. Um, The Haunting of Room 904 by Erika T. Wurth has a psychic paranormal investigator protagonist. And I gotta say, like, The Shining and Doctor
Oh
Sleep, characters that have the shine. Also, I mean, The Shining Girls is also
yeah.
in that vein. I need to watch the Apple TV
Yeah.
show that they made of it. But yeah, it's similar to The Shining, where it's like these people, in this case, these girls have this shine, they have this potential. And there's this serial killer who is going around through time and through this portal and murdering these girls that have the shine.
So I read that as well, and I thought it was really well done. Like taking something as like I don't know, like a time traveling house. I think is the thing,
Mhm. Yeah.
the ability to move through time. But yeah, the thing that he can see these girls' potential. That's yeah, that's interesting. I like that twist.
Yeah.
I had a few honorable mentions as well. One is the Stephen King novella "If It Bleeds," which can be found in the collection by the same name. It's um it's a Holly Gibney mystery set to Christmas where she investigates a reporter who always seems to be present at like really tragic events. Um, yeah, it's pretty short. I don't want to like spoil anything, but that's a really good one, and it ties back to another Holly Gibney mystery without spoiling anything further. That so that one is a good one, but and also The Devil and Mrs. Davenport by
Yeah.
that's a good one, and so infuriating. That husband,
Yeah, so this is like mid-century housewife married
yeah,
to a professor at a Bible college, and you just feel the stifling
yeah.
existence she has. And oh my god, the husband in this. Ah.
It's interesting because it opens with her recovering from the flu. I think it is.
Yeah.
That's the thing that triggers her power, and I like that twist. I've never heard that before. But she like
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so satisfying to see her figure this out and go through
y-
this journey and see like what power she has and what she can do.
yeah, like everything is stacked against her. Her
Mhm.
husband, society, just the fact that she can't open a bank account on her
Yeah.
own
Yeah.
without her husband's signature.
Yep.
It's wild. But I like the fact that she starts seeing, she gets these psychic flashes or dreams of, I don't know, like women who turn out to have been murdered in
Yeah.
recent years.
I think that's right.
Yeah, I think so too. So yeah, she figures out how to use her power. Or
Are we ready to talk chilling obsessions?
yes.
All right. What have you been enjoying lately?
So I have been enjoying a book, a really long book. I think the audiobook was on 20 hours or something. So I spent quite a while listening to it. But it's really interesting because it's about Black Death or the
Hmm.
bubonic plague. It's called The Great Mortality and Intimate History of the Black Death, the most devastating plague of all time by John Kelly. Um, so it's strange because and I'm sure a lot of people listening maybe recognize themselves in this because listening to really bleak things, whether they are novels or nonfiction, can be very soothing. It can be
Yeah.
very relaxing. So for me, this book was very soothing. Um, it talks about the Black Death, about how it came from, today's, I think it's Kyrgyzstan or Kazakhstan, and how it just completely consumed Europe. How between 30 and 60% of all people died. How it went incredibly quickly. Like from the moment you started getting symptoms, you might be dead in 3 days. And it's just like, it struck me how similar, for anyone who's seen The Walking Dead, especially that first season, when things still look like it used to, but it's just completely deserted. Um, it kind of reminded me of that when they were describing society at the time of the Black Death, because people were dying in droves. I mean, the church lost much of its power because all the priests died. Uh, and it follows, and it has these letters and notes from people who lived through it. So I think what I like about the Black Death, if that doesn't sound too macabre, but I like seeing how people reacted to it, because you can
Mm-hmm.
tell in these letters and notes that people were like, "This is the end," It's, I wish I hadn't lived to experience this, but this is the end. It's horrible. But then you have these other stories about people who just had the same. They came to the same conclusion, but what they chose to do was to meet for a dinner party every single night. And they started out with maybe like 10, 12 people, and then gradually people died, and gradually, you know they were just left with no one in the end. So I like seeing how society reacts, how norms just go straight out the window, and I like seeing that some people decide to have dinner parties until they all die. I think that's a nice way of handling the end of the world as they experience it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started my book number 2 about Black Death, this time the Black Death in Norway. So I am going down a rabbit hole.
I love finding a new rabbit hole.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the second tradition we have on this podcast is to ask our guests for a final girl song. So, Annette, you're covered in blood at the end of the horror movie. What's your song?
So for me, it is Aurora and her song Churchyard. It goes as follows. He told me I belong in a churchyard. He told me I could walk away, but I wouldn't get far. And I feel like this is very much about, I mean, it sounds like it's about an abusive relationship. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much how I see the slasher and the final girl. So I think this would be a good one for when she fights back.
Yeah.
Grim look on her face, covered in blood, like you say. She's just had enough. And then Aurora has this wonderful ethereal voice that's on in the background. I think that'll be a good fit.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I'll be adding that to the playlist. Sounds
Okay.
like a mood.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again for coming on here and talking powered protagonists. Where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram. I'm at ambilder, AMBILDER.
Books in the Freezer is a bi weekly podcast. We post episodes every other Tuesday. You can find us on Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, and TikTok at Books in the Freezer. Or you can send us an email at booksinthefreezer@gmail.com or check out the show notes for this episode and all previous episodes at booksinthefreezer.com. And maybe you're thinking, wow, I wish I had even more books in the freezer in my life. Well, do I have news for you? Because we have a Patreon community, and we recently started a series of bonus episodes called The House at the End of Fear Street, where I and a guest are reading through R.L. Stine's iconic YA horror series, Fear Street. Most of these for me are first time reads, and it has been such a fun project. So I recommend checking that out if you're interested. There are, of course, free ways to show your support for the podcast. One of those being just talking about us on social media, posting about it in Instagram stories or threads or Blue Sky. So thank you so much for that. And leaving a review on a site like Apple Podcasts or Spotify that helps indie podcasts like this one get noticed. So again, thank you to all of you who have taken the time to do that. It makes my day. So thank you so much for listening. I have been your host, Stephanie Gagne, and see you next time on Books in the Freezer.